How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne and this is Deck Ready, my channel all about the Steam Deck. Yes, it's another one of those videos where my hair is wet because I'm seeing Alien Romulus tonight. I cannot wait. It's my most anticipated movie of the year. If you didn't know, Fede Alvarez is the best horror director in the modern age. I will not be taking questions on that statement, but if you don't believe me, go watch Evil Dead 2013 and Don't Breathe and you will understand why. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. But in today's video, I've got two topics to cover. The first one is that Valve has officially confirmed support for other PCs with SteamOS 3.0, but there's a little bit of disappointing news that came along with it. And then second, Microsoft is fighting back against Valve with a new compact mode for Windows that seems kind of cool. But yeah, let's just jump into this first news story here. If you watched my last video here on the channel, there was a new update in the beta channel for the Steam Deck that included a very curious new change, and that was support for the back buttons on the ROG Ally. And at first, that didn't really seem like anything crazy because, you know, they've done button support for pretty much every controller and handheld under the sun through Steam Input, but the big difference was, versus being an update for the Steam client, this was an update for SteamOS itself, which is like them baking in support for another device other than the Steam Deck and the Steam Deck OLED into the official release of SteamOS 3.0, which is awesome. Now, they're very clear that this is a work in progress, like they're going to slowly add small features that support the ROG Ally, and then eventually they're going to give you the ability to dual boot SteamOS 3.0 and Windows on one device. And once they hit that milestone, that's about the time that they're probably going to release the full version of SteamOS 3.0 for the ROG Ally. And this is where it gets a little disappointing. There's a lot of quotes in the article from people at Valve, and the first quote was talking about dual booting. They said that they're working on it now, but they haven't been able to get to it just yet. And that wording really just bugs me because they talked about being able to dual boot Windows and SteamOS 3.0 well before the Steam Deck even came out. They made it seem like it was some sort of priority for them, but it seems like from that wording that they haven't really been working on it all that much, and that they've been working on other things like SteamOS for the Steam Deck, getting the Steam Deck OLED out, getting Proton up and running and supporting more games, and it's just been kicked down the road. And now that they're working on supporting SteamOS for the ROG Ally, it is a priority. Now look, I like the ROG Ally X. I think it's a solid handheld, but I don't think it should be the catalyst for a major feature you announced before the Steam Deck came out. Like, in my opinion, this should have been something that was out a long time ago, and now it's something that they're only working on because they want to get the operating system working on their biggest competitor handheld wise. It doesn't seem like the priorities are straight over there when it comes to what features are worth shipping first, but hopefully we don't have to wait too long for them to add dual boot support. I know you can do it yourself, but there's a lot of like back-end stuff you have to do to get it set up on the Steam Deck, and with the 1 terabyte of micro SD card space and the 1 terabyte of SSD space that I have in my Steam Deck, I absolutely would love to be able to dual boot right into Windows whenever I want for games that don't work on the Steam Deck right now. Like Call of Duty HQ, for example, Warzone, Black Ops 6 is not going to work on the Steam Deck because of the anti-cheat, Destiny 2. There's plenty of games that don't work on the Steam Deck because of anti-cheat software. So having Windows as a little bit of a backup, that would kind of eliminate my need for an ROG Ally X, if I'm being honest, because even when you install Windows on a micro SD card and get it up and running that way on the Steam Deck, people are able to get some pretty solid frame rates out of those two games. So like if I can run them at a consistent 30 FPS, I'm fine keeping one machine in my bag versus two, because right now, if I want to play Call of Duty and I want to play something else at my friend's house, I have to fit both the ROG Ally X and the Steam Deck in my bag, and that's just like way too extra for my taste. You know what I'm saying? The other disappointing aspect of this is shipping SteamOS 3.0 as a whole. So right now they're working on shipping it just for the ROG Ally so that they can support both the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally at the same time. They announced this as something they want to get to a point where they're just going to ship it as an operating system that you could install on your Windows PC, like my Razer Blade with a 4090 in it. I would absolutely love to be able to install SteamOS 3.0 on an extra partition and just have it there for games that have micro stuttering or just run better on SteamOS than Windows. But the way they've changed things around, they're going to work on it on a handheld by handheld basis and then eventually get it to a point where it works on every PC. This is just getting a little disappointing for me because I thought this would be more of a priority for them, but it seems like they don't really have much of a strategy when it comes to getting this completely made and ready to be shipped. I don't want to undersell how hard it is, but like Valve is not my friend. They're a company, they're selling me a product, and they announced this feature before the Steam Deck was even available to pre-order. This was announced day one, that SteamOS 3.0 would be something that you could install eventually on any PC, and it seems like they they've just really pushed it to the side in favor of only giving the Steam Deck updates and working on support for the ROG Ally. I'd like to see the priority shift a lot to just supporting all Windows PCs right out of the gate instead of starting with one handheld that very few people have and then moving on from there. I understand from a business standpoint as well why they want to get it working on the ROG Ally. There are a lot of people out there who have an Ally and don't have a Steam Deck, so if they can capture part of the market by getting those users to use SteamOS, that's obviously what they want to do, because Microsoft is kind of fighting back against them by saying, hey, you could buy a Steam Deck for $400 right now, or you could pay double, get an ROG Ally, run Steam, run it in big picture mode, get the SteamOS operating system Lite version, and then also play your Game Pass games without streaming them. Or you can install your Epic games, your Ubisoft games. There's no extra hoops you have to jump through. That's a lot of ease of use that comes with the ROG Ally that the Steam Deck doesn't have. So I understand that like they want to make sure they're competing with Windows. And the best way to do that is to hit them where it hurts by releasing SteamOS 3.0 for their biggest handheld at the moment. But like, yeah, at the end of the day, what I care more about is being able to dual boot into Windows from my Steam Deck, and then also being able to install SteamOS 3.0 on the laptop that I use every day. Like I want my Razer Blade to have SteamOS 3.0 without using Bazite, without using any of these other Linux distros. I want SteamOS 3.0 from Valve released and available and ready and good to go on my main gaming laptop. And I feel like that's not too much of an ask considering it was something they announced well before the Steam Deck even came out. And look, I don't want to sound like I'm super disappointed or mad or anything, because I'm not. I understand that this is difficult. I just wish that it was happening a lot quicker than it is, because nothing has really happened when it comes to big Steam Deck updates in a while. So I figured the silence from Valve was them actively working on this, and for the most part, it seems like they are finally working on it. I just wish they started working on it a little bit sooner. But yeah, speaking of Microsoft, that brings us to the second news story here, which is that they're actually fighting back against Valve. So a couple of months ago, they released the compact mode for the Xbox Game Pass app, and it's solid. I used it when I downloaded Gears of War Ultimate Edition on my ROG Ally X. While it does make the interface for the Xbox Game Pass app a lot more usable for sure, it's still not a full replacement for Steam in big picture mode, and I don't think it really even comes close. Like, it makes it easier to use a touchscreen on a Windows handheld because it makes all the buttons really big and it makes it easy to install your games and everything like that. But the overall overhead of running that software to begin with is not really worth it in my opinion, because it slows down the entire machine and it just like never really downloads games right. I have to start, stop downloads, like cancel them and restart them a lot of the time. Pausing a download will effectively kill it, so you have to restart the entire download from start to finish. So I have to make sure the Ally X stays on my couch with the screen at super brightness level, which like I hope doesn't burn into it while it downloads these games. The download speeds on the Xbox app are incredibly slow compared to what I get from Steam. So there are many other problems that I would like them to figure out first, just like Valve with SteamOS 3.0, before redoing the UI to make the buttons bigger so that they work with a touchscreen, right? Like that just seems like a quick and dirty solution that doesn't really seem well thought out. I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but if you hit Windows G while you're playing a game on Windows, it pulls up their version of the Xbox game bar. Like when you hit the Xbox button on your Xbox Series X, there's a Windows version of that that gives you some cool functionality, like being able to access Spotify to listen to music in the background. You can change the volume of your microphone, the volume of the game. You can launch games with the game bar, like switch to other games. You can record games. You can monitor performance. So it has all the features you'd want. But if you're using it on the 7-ish inch screen on the ROG Ally, it gets super cramped super quickly. So right now in the preview mode of Windows, you can actually take advantage of the new compact mode for the game bar, and essentially it just turns it into the game bar from the Xbox Series X. Now this makes a lot more sense to me than the compact mode for the Xbox Game Pass app, because it includes a lot of performance monitoring stuff that you might want to bring up during a game, and being able to play Spotify in the background is pretty cool. What I really think they need to do is just come up with some sort of UI overlay or something for Windows that makes it operate a lot more like SteamOS. Like right now, the main game I'm playing is Alien Isolation, obviously to get ready for Alien Romulus, and it's amazing. If you haven't played it before, it's basically like a stealth version of RE7. I'm having a blast. I ended up playing through it in about one sitting last night. I got through half of the game, so that's how much fun I'm having with it. So the way I'm playing that game right now is that when my wife is watching The Bachelor or this show with the Jonas Brothers where they try and guess celebrity relatives or something, I don't really want to watch that. So I play our Alien Isolation with headphones on my Steam Deck, and then when she goes to bed at like 10, I move over to my gaming laptop laptop on the TV and I play that way. And the way I've been sort of interacting with my PC on the TV is by using big picture mode, which essentially just turns your laptop into a console interface that works exactly like the Steam Deck, and it's phenomenal. You can restart the PC, you can make it launch right into big picture mode. I've been doing that. You can control a lot of your PC settings with a controller using it. You can access a lot of the different Wi-Fi settings and everything like that. Like, it effectively turns your whole TV into a console, and that is exactly what Microsoft needs to figure out how to implement with stuff like the ROG Ally or the Lenovo Legion Go. Like, they need some handheld flavor of Windows that comes along with a handheld mode that completely reshapes the operating system, gives you a new way to interact with files, and makes it just usable on a controller, right? Like, even doing simple things on the ROG Ally X, like using the keyboard, absolutely sucks because your only two options are to use the tiny touchscreen, which is terrible, or you can use the right stick as a mouse and then individually click every key you want to click. The typing experience is terrible on its own, but when you compare it to what you can do on the Steam Deck by using both touchpads to cover both sides of the keyboard, the typing experience is 1,000 times better on the Steam Deck, and I want that experience to come over to Windows. If Valve can get to a point where the ROG Ally X and ROG Ally can just ship with SteamOS, I'm positive that whatever goodwill Microsoft has built up with Asus over the years by supporting the ROG Ally and marketing it and everything, Asus is going to throw that to the curb immediately and go with SteamOS, because on handheld devices, in 9 games out of 10, you get better performance using SteamOS than you do Windows. Because of all the background stuff that runs on Windows, it drains the battery faster, it hurts your performance, and it's an overall detriment to the entire experience, whereas SteamOS is like a boon to the entire experience. Battery draw is super limited. All the stuff you need to do is access through the quick access menu. You can control brightness, you can control performance profiles, you can do pretty much anything you want just from that SteamOS interface, and it's all super light. There's nothing really running in the background when you're playing a game, so you can know when you're playing on SteamOS that you're getting the maximum performance. And on top of that, it's dead simple to install games and just get them up and running, and more games are coming along with the Steam Deck preset these days. So if you're using something like the ROG Ally or Ally X, you can use the Steam Deck preset for graphic settings, and you can feel certain that that's probably going to run pretty damn well on the ROG Ally. So yeah, the competition from Microsoft in the handheld space is really heating up for Valve. Obviously, it would have been a lot easier for them to fight back if they had SteamOS ready to go sooner, which is another reason why they should have been working on it sooner than they theoretically are, but it seems like they're still well ahead of the competition, and at the end of the day, that's exactly what I want. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you in today's video. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and shape on.